Thank you very much. We now turn to our second speaker on the opposition, Alistair Mathieson. Alistair is a second-year undergraduate student reading history at Pembroke College. They won the right to speak through open audition. Alistair, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. You'll all notice fairly quickly, I imagine, from my accent, that I'm, unlike our first three speakers, not Scottish. I had been tempted to come here armed with my best Scottish accent and deliver a Gordon Brown-esque, stirring defence of the Union. I then remembered, however, the last time I saw a speaker in this chamber do a foreign impression. A week later, they were plastered all over the front page of the national newspapers and blacklisted from speaking in this chamber again, so I perhaps won't do that one. My surname, however, does belie the fact that I have a Scottish heritage. My great-great-grandparents were all Scottish, and my more distant ancestors were part of a traditional Highland Scottish clan. And my surname, then, encapsulates in many ways the argument that I want to make tonight, which is that England and Scotland have, for 300 years, been fundamentally, culturally, and politically intertwined and entangled. And it is this bond of friendship, loyalty, and respect that has been etched into our history for 300 years that has given this nation some of its greatest moments, inventions, and institutions. Too often, I think, we hear from the unionist side of this argument, and we've touched on it tonight, pessimistic arguments against Scottish independence. They prognosticate the economic ruin that would befall an independent Scotland, or the constitutional crisis that would unfold. These are incredibly important arguments, I think, and are absolutely right to be said. But it's vital, I think, that if unionism is to be a positive, sustainable position, that it offers something more positive. It offers an argument of why the United Kingdom is a good thing, and not just why an independent Scotland is a bad thing. Ever since the Act of Union over 300 years ago, Scotland has been a vital component in the United Kingdom. And the social, cultural and political ties that have been forged have been crucial in making the United Kingdom a prosperous, stable and respected nation. The United Kingdom is only the country it is because of Scotland. Our history is littered with joint ventures and endeavours that could only have been achieved with the joint enterprise of the English, Welsh, Irish and Scots. Going back to 1815, I'll just carry on for a bit today. Going back to 1815, at the Battle of Waterloo, the Scots Greys on horseback fought alongside the Highlander regiments on foot, together with the other European and English allies, to expel Bonaparte's tyranny from Europe. During the Second World War, Scottish troops fought bravely alongside English, Welsh, Irish, and English troops to expel Nazi fascism from Europe. Scotland, in particular, provided not only key personnel and bases, but Scottish pilots in 1940 were crucial in intercepting German bombers coming over from Norway when this country was on its knees. Cemeteries across the United Kingdom and across Europe show English, Welsh, Irish and Scottish soldiers lying at rest side by side, just as they fought and died side by side. These men and women, when they were fighting together, did not see each other with a nationalist ambivalence or hatred. And when they saw their fellow soldiers get injured, they did not ask where they're from or what nationality they were before they went to their aid. They just saw fellow Britons who shared their beliefs, morals, values, and the conviction that the common cause they're engaged in was right. More widely, it's the writers, the thinkers, it's the painters, the academics, and the poets, the Humes, the Flemings, the Andy Murrays, and the Chris Hoys, that have made the United Kingdom what it is. It is these people who have captured the imagination, not just of Scotland, but of the whole United Kingdom, and have given us some of our proudest moments. I distinctly remember cheering on Andy Murray at the 2012 Olympics when he played Roger Federer in the final, playing under the red, white and blue flag that symbolises the Union. Of course, and we have touched upon this evening, every part of the United Kingdom, down to villages, counties and nations, have their own customs, traditions and historic practices. Scotland being one of the most obvious examples, whether that be in music, food or art. And it is vital that we celebrate and retain these distinctive customs. But it is when we celebrate these customs and these practices under the umbrella of the United Kingdom that they shine most brightly, as they have done for 300 years. The example of this that is etched most deeply into my memory is the final moments of the late Queen's funeral. As the royal coffin was finally being lowered into the royal vault underneath the ancient floor of St George's Chapel, Windsor, a Scots Guard piper, back turned to the camera, beat a slow march out of the chapel door, playing a salute to Fendersmith, one of Her late Majesty's favourite tunes. It was a tune that was written in 1993 by a Scots Guard piper whose brother had recently died. There can be few moments, I think, that touch so beautifully and poignantly upon the spirit of the Union. This spirit is one of family, comradeship, and community. It is the deep-rooted feeling that millions in this country have, that though their English, Welsh, Irish, or Scottish identity is important to them, they are also fundamentally British. Our beloved institutions, too, owe so much to the joint endeavour of Scots and English in tandem. The BBC, as we have mentioned, founded by a Scot, and it has since had 3 Scottish Director Generals. The NHS, so many of the most important figures in the founding of the NHS were Scots. Our armed forces draw from all corners of the United Kingdom, not just for its personnel, but for its bases and its infrastructure. And the Scottish regiments have some of the most unique customs, traditions, and uniforms in the country. Just to make some headway, that's okay. I know here that I'm painting a very rosy picture of the Union that many on the other side may not identify with. Just yesterday, I was sat in the office here discussing with someone on the opposite side of the house who was telling me about all the moments in our history where fractures and divisions have surfaced and where this joint identity has not been felt. From the clearances of the Highlands in the 1800s, when English aristocrats bankrolled the evictions of Scottish farmers from their homes, all the way to Brexit, as we have discussed in detail, which has since had 8 years of heightened Anglo-Scottish tensions. But I would say that, as anyone here will know, no family is a family unless it falls out occasionally. I know myself, my brother is here in the audience tonight. He will attest to the fact that no fraternal relationship is one unless it has some acts of minor violence and bullying occasionally. So England and Scotland may crash into each other on the rugby pitch at Murrayfield every 6 nations, but it is the pint that those players share afterwards that encapsulates the spirit of the Union most deeply. That compromise, positivity, and sense of family that is how reconciliation is achieved. This is why it's vital, I think, that we escape the us versus them rhetoric the Scottish nationalists so often superimpose over this debate, a debate so often turned into unpleasant attacks on other people. The majority of people in this country do not feel that. They feel a deep pride in our family of nations, expressed so often at sporting events, in our armed forces, and in our institutions. The history of this nation shows time after time that it is when we work together as a union that we achieve great things and prosper. This spirit is etched into the sense of identity that so many Britons have up and down this country. It expresses itself in our shared values and beliefs and our commitment to doing the right thing together. It is to protect this essential element of who we are and to drive it into the future that I would urge you to vote against the motion tonight. Thank you.